You are listening to the Savage FINcast Retro, episode 26, Savage Dragon, 16 and 17.
Chicago. A criminal mastermind called Overlord held our city in his terrifying grip. Ordinary cops were losing the battle against Overlord's super freaks and mutants. Then, a miracle happened. When I found him, he had no memory of his past. I helped him find an identity and a life. Now we have a fighting chance. Now we have the dragon.
This is the Savage FINcast Retro, the show that's more elusive than your McDonald's boob bucket. I'm Raven Perez.
I'm Jim Purcell.
I'm Craig Olson.
And were those buckets that hard to find?
I don't want to say that they were hard to find for me, but I do live a super size me-esque life.
I see.
So they might know my name and food preference when I go through the drive-thru, maybe.
A boob bucket.
Boob bucket. The Savage FINcast Retro is the show that takes you back to the past to read the awesome issues that kick ass. It's Eric Larson, Golden Age Savage Dragon, Freak Force. We got all that good shit going on. We're going to review the things from our youth, our bygone era. And we got some kick-ass primo Golden Age Savage Dragon for you today. Tell them what we got, Jim.
We are going to be taking a look at the Savage Dragon issues 16 and 17. These are very classic issues. A ton of classic moments, especially in 16.
I think I was 16 or 17 when these came out.
January and February of 1995.
Ooh, how old was I? 12. I was 12.
That was my senior year of high school.
I was like 15. So not 16 or 17.
I don't think
by this much.
I don't think they've introduced Pogs yet. Maybe they have. Maybe I'm slamming.
I'm
Pogs
pretty sure
right
they
now.
have.
Oh yeah, you're slamming Pogs. In 1995, you absolutely are.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, it's probably losing its appeal by now.
Yeah, I would say in 95.
Well,
Pogs have jumped the shark.
I lived in rural New York. They probably hung on a little longer for us.
You say that like you're not talking to a dude from southern West Virginia. I had a conversation with someone where they were like, "You don't understand. I'm from the 70s. We had big hair." And I'm like, huh. I was like, bitch, we had big hair in the 90s, and we shouldn't have, but we did.
We were still in the 70s and the 90s.
Well,
oh yes,
70s fashion made a comeback in the 90s. I remember bell bottoms were very, very popular again.
It just never left the country, Jim. It just never left the country. Bangs, giant bangs, and giant Dolly Parton hair.
You guys didn't have the Junkos though. You didn't move into the future.
Yeah. Oh, we had Junkos, meatball chains, hemp necklaces, and yet somehow...
fucking hemp necklaces. I'm glad I'm not an accessories guy, because I couldn't imagine what I would have looked like wearing all that shit.
Jim,
I don't wear necklaces. I don't wear rings. I don't wear fucking neck chokers.
You don't wear chokers?
No.
What's funny is...
Ones with the hookah beads.
I was never an accessories guy, except for that period in time, which I totally fucking was. I had fucking the Junko, the big jeans. I had meatball chain, hemp necklace, and I had fucking hair pomade.
Chain wallet.
What is pomade?
It's like hair wax.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you had your hairstyle. Of course, you've got that pompadour look going on. I'm sure you rocked it quite well.
It was ridiculous.
The Steranko pompadour.
Yeah, dude, it was bad. I looked like Power Man 5, not 5,000. It's fucking janky. Not good, dude.
What was that kid's show with the real plasticky looking guy? The crazy hair.
I know what you mean. Are you talking about Lazy Town?
Yeah, probably.
What the fuck was up with the 90s, guys? I mean, really.
We were trying to come up with our own identity.
And we settled on neon.
Well, no, they rejected neon. You remember, it ended up grunge. Everything dominated into sort of like some weird, and there was a lot of liquid metal, that kind
Chromium.
of fucking thing. Yeah,
everything got really baggy.
Yes, including our teenage balls. Sorry, that's so stupid. But think about 90s. Everything, here's what's funny is the 90s, think about like comics. Everything was excess. Yeah. And so it was just like, you didn't just have jeans, you had big jeans, you had pipes.
But I thought that was supposed to be the 80s. Wasn't the 80s everything excess?
Well, remember, the people making the comics in the 90s grew up in the 80s. And so that's why, in a lot of ways, like Savage Dragon looks very 80s.
Right.
Looks like Die Hard, looks like all those... I don't even know how to phrase it.
Bangs.
Yeah, everyone's got the fucking 80s hair. Everyone's like, Rapture's got like fucking 80s hair.
Rapture has big time 80s hair. But there's a little bit of Tina Turner.
Yeah.
A little bit of Tina Turner.
Smasher's got 80s hair.
Johnson and Rita, they both got fucking hair coming out of their fucking ears. even fucking Skullface has got flowing locks.
Dude, Skullface's hair that's certainly a statement. That's damn like near bald.
Washed up 80s metal dude.
Yeah. Like, you imagine he just takes off that suit and he's like, oh, and the gut just hits the floor.
Well, fortunately for him, it's invisible.
Yeah.
Transparent skin. That's his whole deal.
Skin visibility, some might say.
So, I just want to say, before we start delving into issue 16, I really feel like this issue is where Dragon's really starting to get on a roll.
Yeah.
Incorporating everything I love about Dragon. Like, as I was rereading this issue, I'm like, man, there's so much going on in this issue, and there's so many of those like peak Savage Dragon kind of traits that I love in this issue. So I really can't wait to like delve into it and talk about it. But there's so much. I forgot how great an issue this is. It really is.
This is an issue. Dude, this is an incredible issue. I mean, with all those newspaper articles.
Yeah, it's a strange thing, too. It's like, he's never done that before or since.
Yeah. And I was laughing because I was just saying, like, if you stop and read those articles, they're actually written out. And, like, these days, it would just be like, Epsom Lorem, Blepsum Blorum, you know what I mean? But, like... This is fucking written out. Like, how goddamn long did it take to write all these articles?
And you get a lot of good information out of them.
Yes. So much. It fleshes out this sequence so much. It's incredible, dude. Did you read them all, Jim?
I didn't. No.
You're missing out, my man.
Too long. Didn't read.
Oh, no. You're missing out. Anybody who's listening, dear listeners, they're not just full of like bullshit. Like, those articles actually flesh out Skullface and Frank's past.
And also don't forget Young Tough. He gets one too.
Yeah.
There's
but
3.
they have a past together. It's so crazy.
I gotta say, look at the cover. Like Mace's costume design. I always love those kind of like what do they call them? Like the aviator pants that are kind of flared out. It's such a like a weird thing for Eric to decide to do, but it's cool.
Yeah, it really works when it shouldn't.
And it's such a weird costume, like the half costume, like the half shirt, like whatever you want to call it.
Yes, dude.
But it is a choice. It's got the brown belt.
We know what it is. It's on the tip of our tongue. What's that Sean Connery movie?
Oh, fucking...
Starts with a Z.
Zardoz?
Yeah.
At any rate, dude, look how hairy Mace is. God damn, dude. I don't know. It's insane. Like, it's an insane costume. It shouldn't look good, but it does.
I'm a big fan of like the half mask thing. The Batman without the ears.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think when I was rereading this, Mace in this issue feels like a Batman, how Batman would react to Savage Dragon.
Right.
Sure, absolutely.
Of course, he also doesn't really use a mace. Ball and chain is a different weapon.
technically, though, I mean, think of it. All it's missing is like the little wand.
Right.
Is that what a mace is? Just the spike on a stick, right?
On a stick, right? Although actually,
Yeah,
I think the spike ball on the stick is a or wait, which is the Morning Star?
Real time research. Morning.
Nope. A Morning Star is on a shaft. So the Morning Star is the ball with spikes on a stick, whereas the mace would just be a solid cudgel.
Cudgel. Good word, dude.
Yeah.
I like to use it whenever possible.
Yeah. Do you tell the ladies, come over here so we can cudgel? And they're like, okay, thinking they misheard you, and then you just BAM!
But Mace is one of those great early dragon
He
villains.
didn't even acknowledge.
Yeah, I'm sandbagging you. It's a talent of mine.
What a no-sell. Yeah, and Mace is one of those great early guys. Yeah,
And you know why? And part of the reason why I like him so much, he's also one of those characters that doesn't exist anymore. And not just because he died, but because he literally, because of the way time shenanigans worked, he just doesn't exist in the Savage world.
Yeah,
Right.
And it's just one of those world details that because his history changed, he just wasn't there.
His whole person changed. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something badass about a dude that just swings basically a wrecking ball.
Yeah. He doesn't. I don't think he has powers. I think he's just Bucky with the chain, ball and chain.
Just a fucking, you're gonna die, punk. With the ball and chain.
Right.
You see a guy swinging a ball, and instead of running, you just, oh no.
I mean, he's tough as shit.
Yeah.
Strong,
He's tough
like
as shit
Batman with
when he's on the offensive, when he's getting socked by Dragon. Not as tough.
right.
I bet when he was young tough.
Yeah.
Maybe his powers. I don't know. Maybe he's a super soldier. I don't know.
I love it. I love everything. I'm with you guys. This is some classic shit.
You know what's one thing? While we're still talking about the cover, real quick, I'm actually kind of surprised about this. We're getting to the point where Dragon is pretty well established stylistically. Eric has basically his art style has gelled into what we know and love. Yet he still has like 50,000 segments to his fin at this point.
Yeah, he hasn't nailed that down yet.
It takes
It's
longer
coming.
than you. It takes longer than you would ever believe. Like just doing the daily reread, I'm just like, wow, they didn't really get that. And another thing that takes a long time is, and I wish I'd never noticed it, is that there's that color hold thing I told you, where if you don't use processed black, you can like see the one color behind the black.
Yeah.
That shit continues up into like the 100.
Wow.
It's nuts. Yes. Yeah. You would think that they would have figured that out and just nailed it and changed it immediately. Nope.
Maybe it's one of those things that only appeared in the final printing, and they just couldn't.
Well, that's how it works. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Would not have appeared on the screen.
That's exactly the reality, is that it doesn't happen on screen, and when you print it, there it is. And that's why they use that processed black on computers now, because visibly to you, it's no different, but when it prints, it compensates. There's no bleed through. And so it's like you would think that would have been something like the fins that they would have gotten right away. Dude, it sticks around for so long. It's crazy.
So go ahead.
One thing before we move on, just looking at the wiki, Super Tough has enhanced stamina, endurance, and strength. So,
Okay, so he's not a pushover.
but they don't explain how he got it. They don't come out and say it. I don't think anywhere. And I don't know why it's in the wiki. I can't see anything in the write-up that explains his origin. But
Since that is left up to our imagination, I will assume that if you are sexual partners with Super Tough long enough, some of his powers rub off on you.
there you go.
Sexually transmitted superpowers. Perfect.
Too many kisses, too many smooches.
The injection.
That's
So right off the bat about this issue, this is one of the best Savage Dragon issues ever, I think.
it is.
And,
Yes.
and it's the way it balances not just one iconic fight, but two.
Yeah.
Because not only
Effortlessly.
do you get the Dragon versus Mace fight, the possessed Dragon versus Mace fight, but also the Frank versus Skullface fight, and they basically parallel each other throughout the issue.
Yeah.
And the Mace Dragon fight is your typical slobber knocker, but your Skullface Frank fight is a much more interesting fight in that it's a normal guy versus a superpowered guy, which is always going to be a tough fight.
And a fucking frightening looking. It's almost like a horror movie in a way. You know, he's getting like the cat and mouse type.
Yeah. This is Sarah Connor fighting the Terminator.
It absolutely is, dude. Unstoppable force pursuing, a fragile human. Oh, it's so good.
And what's real wild is both fights wrap up before halfway through the issue, and even though that happens, it doesn't feel rushed. It's Eric's command of like space and pacing is just kind of incredible.
I know what it is, dude. It's like if you don't come up on decompressed action, like Eric is. That's why I always tell people, I'm like, dude, cartoonists, like you have to fucking read Savage Dragon. It's a fucking masterclass in cartooning. And the thing is a lot of modern people, they didn't come up on corporate comics. They came up on manga. And, manga's action central, like action crazy, but it's decompressed action.
Oh, yeah. You spend 3 years on an arc.
Yes.
And you think it'd be faster because comics are weekly. But no, it's longer.
Yeah. And the thing is that like what Eric shows here is if you have that compressed storytelling down, you can absolutely deliver multiple satisfying fights in like half an issue. It's nuts. I mean, it's what I've been saying all along. It's like, dude, you gotta read this book. Like, if you want to respect the art form of comics and cartooning, shit, here it is.
Yeah, lots of crazy touches too, like that just use the format that it just really, I don't know, like this, like just for instance, when Frank smashes Skullface in the face and like his eye is like almost like shattered, but it's like glowing.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't have to because it looks cool as shit. You know what I mean? There's no like why should his eye look like that? He's not a robot, but it just looks it just makes it so much freaking cooler.
Yeah, and this is the way the like rays of light are shooting out of it.
Yeah,
it's cool.
I don't know. Like that's one of the things in this issue that I remember that like, stuck with me when I went to open it up. It's like, oh yeah, it's that issue with that panel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. It's iconic visuals, like page after page of iconic visuals.
And the usage of the newspapers clippings where both Skullface gets one and then later Mace gets one to kind of fill us into like, because this is in many ways Skullface's last ride because we'll only see him again later as a crispy. I was going to say corpse, but I guess he's worse than dead. He's alive.
Yeah, living prison.
Yeah. And of course, then we finally find out who Mace is. We don't really find out who Mace is, in the story. We kind of get this outside story explanation of like why he is the way he is. And of course, we find out it's because I know why it happened because Dark Lord shows up, but I don't think Dark Lord's mentioned by name here.
He had to peek over the wall and look at the Negabomb.
Right, the Negabomb went off. Right.
Yep.
Wow, they do mention Damien Darklord. Is this the first mention of Darklord in Savage Dragon?
Yeah, and he doesn't show up until like, 30 issues later.
Yeah.
Right.
In issue 42. Super Tough's mentioned. He doesn't show up until 43. That's like a hallmark of Savage Dragon that's starting out here, where you're just setting up these long bombs,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but so we get mentions of Dark Lord, the Negabomb,
surprises within an issue, like taking off Mace's mask, which I'm surprised that Eric didn't do that as a page flip, because in the print comic, it's just on the other page of the open page, which is weird for Eric.
There is this is then another episode. There's a scene in the next Freak Force that we're going to be doing that absolutely should have been on a page flip too. We'll get to that next time.
Did you guys pick up in the news article? They talk about how like Mace or Young Tough was all set to join Youngblood until the accident happened.
Yeah.
And they didn't want him because he was ugly.
Yeah, which, this is, whatever, 30 years before, like, The Boys and that theme, or Powers, where they kind of looked into, like, the rich and beautiful being in superhero teams and stuff like that.
Well, that was the whole thing about Youngblood, right? It was the celebrity super team.
Right, right. And that's, that's a huge thing here where he's kind of, like, turned psychotic because he got rejected from Youngblood. He's ugly, he's pissed at the world. I don't know did it say the chemicals are making him go crazy that he took or something? I don't know.
No, you're thinking of Freak Force.
Oh, is it Freak Force? Okay.
Yeah, that's mentioned in Freak Force.
Oh, right.
They're
they're
blurring together.
Yeah.
It's all, he's got this huge chip on his shoulder now that he's like a disgusting looking guy that can't join Youngblood now because of his looks.
Yeah. I think you hit the nail right on the head. It's always like, listen, man. I mean, I just tell people, I try to pimp this comic all the time. Just fucking people don't listen. But like, if you read this shit, it is shocking how ahead of its time it was. I mean, it's just shocking. It's like,
I think people wouldn't even notice now reading it though because it's been done. But at the time,
right. Yeah, that's the thing is it's like at the time it's like, dude, talking about like celebrity superheroes and then, the vanity that goes into it and what happens for all the other types of heroes and just, it's so good, dude.
I mean, you just imagine reading this for the first time. You're like, man, I want to know more about this Damien Darklord and Super Tough and shit like that. You're reading all this shit. Like, what's the story with Mace? You still have this whole like plot going on with Stars, who is he and who's he working for, because he walks into the car and his handler is all in the shadows. There's so much so many like little plots going on, and there's still two major fights. Like these two fights alone would have been enough for the book, but peppered in between is all this other like neat stuff going on.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, again, the pacing and the flow, it's like you have pages where there's just like 2 word balloons. And then you have those pages where it's like the newspaper articles. And it's like, dude, if you stop and read those articles, which you don't have to, that's a great thing. The story works without them. But if you stop and read those articles, it's like, damn, this is a meaty fucking issue.
Yeah. Things like, even like Star breaking his leg or whatever. It's like, man, you didn't see that much in like superhero comics, like
right.
These guys are getting jacked up fighting,
Mm-hmm.
And that's why this ends up being such a pivotal moment in the Savage world. Is without Mace there, Dragon's rampage was a lot worse.
Absolutely.
Dragon is practically unstoppable,
right?
And he only gets stopped here because Mace gets a lucky shot in and smashes the worm on the back of his neck. Which
the article says he kills like 13 people in his,
including Alex.
No, I mean in
this reality, he doesn't kill Alex. He kills Alex in the Savage world because
he killed 13 people in this reality.
Yes.
Yeah, 13 dead and 40 something injured, and one of the cops got like torn in half or something.
So was it obvious to you guys about the worm on his neck? Was obvious because you saw it land on him, but was it obvious to you that it got smashed by the mace?
Yes.
Okay, because you get the squitch sound effect when it happens.
You not only get the squitch sound effect, but there's a coloring effect too. Yeah. Like that panel has like hold on, let me look at like a highlighted, like the yellow highlighted from the impact. And so it's got the squitch, it's got the yellow. It's just like, if you didn't realize he's not just getting hit, it's like, well, learn to read comics, stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Get with the times, dumb shit. The coloring on this is incredible too. And it's on the good paper. And so here's this issue that is from fucking 1995. And dude, it looks as good as if it was printed last week. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful issue.
Very nice.
Just the blood. Like, what's funny is we've talked about this during these retros, but some of these early computer colored things, there were some dodgy gambles. They didn't all pay off. But like, dude, this issue, I don't see awkward coloring.
Yeah, because they use the dodge tool. Never mind. I was making a joke. Didn't work.
I get it.
It's just great use of colors. Like,
yes.
Like the Skullface when he's jumping on one of the panels, and like he's all kind of knocked out in that red color. Like, you almost get the thought that the eye is like illuminating everything. Well,
you mentioned horror, and it's like, dude, you're selling it. You're so correct. Like the way the like rain is sweeping everywhere, and like
lightning everywhere, yeah.
And then like you said, like that vision of him coming at you with his hands, and he's in red, and the effect of the burst from the eye is going even through the silhouettes of his body. You nailed it. Horror vibes. Like, here's this horror fight happening during this superhero like slugfest. Ah, it's so good, dude.
Right. Frank backed up against the edge of the building, like, oh shit, nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
Or you think nowhere to go, but Frank obviously has this planned out.
Stay back, I got a little lighter.
I mean, to be fair, I don't know if he had it planned out exactly.
He did. That's what the lighter's for.
If you read a dialogue at the end of the fight, which we'll get.
He says he knew. I guess he knew the tanker truck was there. And he knew it.
Yeah, he put up a good fight, but I knew the territory and you didn't, so I won. So he was setting him up to dive at him so that he would hit the tanker.
Right. That's why he had the lighter. It's foreshadowing. It's like, yeah, he's got him.
Do you believe that this lighter would stay lit the entire way down?
Yeah, it's a little much, but
we'll Isn't go with the fantasy.
It's not a Zippo, is it? It's a Bic.
It's a Bic, yeah.
Yeah,
at least that's what it looks like.
You imagine Frank had all that good planning and then threw a fucking Bic.
Tell you what, though, for all that, like, having a fight scene where it's not just fisticuffs and, like I think Jim said in the beginning, like a kind of a normal human versus a super freak, and it was a really satisfying fight and kind of like set up kind of ingeniously,
It is ingenious, and in fact, it is so funny. I will just say this. I'm doing the 30-year daily issue reread, where every day I read a different issue, and the only criticism I can levy at Savage Dragon's action is that quite often there's not what you call any kind of puzzle element to the fight, right? It is literally
they wallop each other a couple times, and then somebody takes a bad hit, and it's over.
Yeah, it's a street fight, and it's like it doesn't have to be a puzzle element,
or someone runs away.
Right? Yeah, or someone loses control and shambles off, or something like that. But it's like this has an element of narration to it.
Yeah.
Frank has Frank's cornered. Oh, he's got a little lighter. Skullface is like, haha, you idiot. Takes the leap. Boom. Frank knew what was going on all along. Lured him into a trap. That's a narrative element that really Eric doesn't do a lot. And it is common in like shonen, comics where you fight.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, this isn't. In the cat and mouse games.
Right, but that being said, that's what makes this fight so fantastic.
Because it is that.
It has that Batman style. Batman has that, where Batman's just hopelessly outclassed and he outwits the guy.
Right.
And it's kind of like this fight between Frank and Skullface has that Batman element.
Right.
It's cool. It's cool. It's special even among all the issues of Dragon. It's pretty special.
Before we go on to the second part of this story, what do you think of this Proton Jerry Ordway poster?
Did that ever become anything?
So here's the thing. I done fucked up. Jerry Ordway was at Terrificon this year with copies of a new issue of Proton. Apparently, there are 2 issues of Proton. And
only 2 after all this time?
I intended to buy both of them because he apparently had both there, and I fucking forgot. So I can't.
This is copyright.
Yeah,
this is copyright trademark 1994.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know if there's like more elsewhere, but all I know is that the 2021 issue that it was new that he was selling this year is labeled issue number 2. And as far as I can tell, there's no other way to buy it except at his booth at whatever con he's at.
God damn, dude, that's a tough break. You know what I think about this? I think about the guy with the beret with the handgun that is also a chain gun
Yeah.
is cooler than the guy in the foreground.
Yeah, with all the shit on him.
Yeah. All the
those
pipes.
Techno pipes.
Yeah.
Connecting his
Looks like-
forehead to his crotch.
Yeah, it looks like he broke out of the hospital with a bunch of pipes on him. I'm so pissed about this hospital bill.
I see a crashing UFO in the background. There's probably a sci-fi element to this. I don't know. If he's usually at every Terrificon. If I get another chance, I'm going to buy it.
You should. And please report and let us know. Like, is Proton worth the wait? That's one issue every 15 years, almost.
Proton #1 came out in 2018.
That's what I'm saying. Is that I think this was he was going to do it and then he didn't, and then he finally got around to it in like the last few years.
Sidebar,
wow,
dear listeners.
Raven is at a loss for words over this development.
No, I thought about saying something and I was like, don't say this, but I'm going to say it. You know what? Memento mori. Yeah, remember you must die. It's like, dude, just do the thing. Just do the thing. Don't wait. If you got something in your heart, just fucking do it. Just get it out.
Clearly, he had passion for it.
Yes.
To come back around to it 20 years later.
That's what I'm saying.
24 years later.
Can you imagine having this in your head, living and just bouncing and waiting and stewing for fucking 2 decades? I'm glad he did. That's all I'm saying. But also, too, if you have to nights and weekend it, get those babies out of your head, dude. You never know.
It's just weird that he doesn't sell it anywhere.
Maybe he does. Looks like he might be able to buy it on his website.
Now you're
Forsters
talking.
on his blog spot. So, Google Proton, Jerry Ordway. You'll probably find his Twitter on his Twitter bio. He has a link to his blog. It looks like there may be buying options there. I may, in fact, look into it.
Yeah. I would love to read this creator-owned project that's been just hanging in the wings for 2 decades.
All right, so
I
there's
do
more
like
comic
me some
here.
Jerry Ordway, gotta say that.
I love Jerry Ordway's art. He's such a
he rules.
He's such a classic superhero guy. Doing comics since forever, but I primarily know him from his DC work on stuff like All-Star Squadron and he wrote the Power of Shazam, did the painted covers on that. It was one of my favorite comics DC ever did. He's just so prolific. He's all over the place. Oh, he drew 0 Hour too, which is
Superman. I just associate him with Superman.
Yeah, of course. He did a whole run on Adventures of Superman back in the 90s when Byrne was on the adjective-less Superman title. Ordway was basically the other guy doing the Adventures of Superman book.
Dear listener, if you want to see an example of that knockout coloring effect that I was talking about that haunts the book for like 100 issues,
point it out to me.
It's on that building.
It's on which
like
building?
The building that he's tossing after the poster.
After
don't be
the
dead,
poster?
don't be dead, don't be dead, don't be dead. That panel. Yeah, look in the shadows at the top of the building, and you'll see it looks like a colored triangle in the shadows.
Oh, okay. So is that what? Okay, so that's not just a printing error. That is a a digital coloring error.
Yep. So what you have,
I've seen that in other comics of the era, where you'll see a hard black area, but you'll also see that kind of halo around it.
Here's what I don't know. I don't know how comics used to be colored.
Right.
But I do know that this is a computer problem. Like as soon as they started doing that, like computer separating, the whole reason that that's a triangle there is because somebody was using like a lasso tool in Photoshop or something.
They probably have a whole thing of the brown on a layer underneath the black, and that's exactly printing through.
That's exactly what it is. Because the thing is that this is just straight K. It's just regular black ink. And it's not like a process black. It's like a mix of all four, which would hide that triangle. But instead, you've just got straight black ink. And so when you print anything underneath it, obviously it prints more rich and more dark, and it pops it out. And so again,
it's only really noticeable if you shine like light off the page, off the gloss.
This glossy, that's the thing, is it probably wouldn't have looked so bad on newsprint. But like on this glossy paper, oh, boom, pops right out. Anyway, if you wondered what the hell I'm talking about when I talk about that, that is a primo example right there. How about Dale?
It's fucking Dale. Hey, Dale, you suck. You suck worse than fucking Bradley.
It's fucking Dale. He's the worst.
Oh, man. And he even comes back as the worst. Fucking Demolisher / Devastator, whatever name Larson wanted to give him that day.
It couldn't even stick in Eric's mind. That's how bad he sucks. Dale the fail. Just the loser. Duke Nukem wannabe.
Overprotective.
Stay away. It's like, yeah, right, Dale. Were you going to throw a building?
You're not even really his
enough damage.
Boyfriend. You went on one date.
I'm her boyfriend. Now get the hell out of here. Leave us alone. I'm Dale. Fucking Dale. And what do you guys think about the silhouette with the ear?
I'm sorry.
With the ear.
I'm sorry.
Just the silhouette with the... I know we're not doing page by page, but there's...
Darren. Is it Darren, the SWAT team guy?
Well, it's the cop. Yeah.
Oh, the silhouette with the ear. Yeah, okay. That sure is an ear.
Yeah. I'm just
I guess it's supposed to imply that like the light source is just kind of kissing the tip of his ear.
It's just, just curious what you thought.
Weird choice, but we'll go with it. Yeah.
I do like his speech bubble above it where he's just going on and on and on, and when you kind of imply that and just keep it going off page.
Love it, dude. Love it. That's a sequential art chef kiss. Love that kind of stuff.
Fucking Howard. Never misses an opportunity. That's not Howard Niesman?
No, it's Darren. He's or isn't it Bull? Darren Bull or whatever.
Oh, is the other one?
The SWAT. He's like the scarred up guy. He's like the leader of the SWAT team.
Yeah, he's not a bigot, but he just hates Dragon because, he just thinks he's a fucking freak.
He was like the alpha.
Oh, it is Darren. I don't know why I thought it was the other guy.
They're easily confusable.
Yeah, they're both ugly.
Pig-headed dudes.
Guys, how about this awesome fucking skull face? You talk about what should have been a page flip. God damn, dude. This is awesome.
Can't believe he survives that. That's fucking nuts.
He's a super freak.
Yeah, I guess.
It's crazy how that page doesn't end the book. And there's like so much more in the next like 4 pages.
It really is.
We get more
so you got
newspaper.
The end of the fights. Skullface is melty and the fight's done. And you turn the page, but yet there's more.
Yeah, and what's funny is it's not just a little more either. Like fucking he wraps up this Rodney thing. He introduces J. Jonah Jameson.
Schwartzblatt.
Speaking of long bombs, Rodney is concluded.
Yeah. And it's like he didn't have to, but here's 3 panels wrapping up Rodney.
This is really where he starts fleshing out our Richard Richards.
That's true. I don't recall him being a character at all before this point. He just kind of comes out as like the J. Jonah Jameson type suddenly.
Mm-hmm. Which is great because it's like the newspapers. Like it just ties right into like this theme of newspapers. Here comes newspaper man, basically.
Yeah, so he kind of appeared off and on. He was in 6, 8, 10, and 15, but not really. Was
he used more extensively in the cartoon? I seem to recall he might have been.
I think so. I mean, he's just basically J. Jonah Jameson. It's kind of
feels a bit more
kind of funny, but it gets old.
I think
Eric kind of figured that and wrapped it up fast after a while.
I think it's a little bit more earned here because Dragon did go on a rampage. It's not like Jonah making up shit about Spider-Man.
Right.
Oh yeah, you're totally right, dude. Like the thing is it makes more sense for our Richards to hate Dragon than it ever made for J. Jonah Jameson to hate Spider-Man. And I know there was the whole, my son's a hero, he's an astronaut. It's like, dude, it's so far-fetched.
Yeah.
Like for him to fucking be that crazy over it. Like, this makes sense. Like, that really doesn't.
Dude, and one of the things I love about, Dragon is just, especially in the kind of these, once it started gelling, so like from this issue on through like the 40s where it really got just a comedic effect. So like those 4 skinny panels where, for the listeners, is Dragon talking to, what's his name?
Johnson. William Johnson.
William Johnson. In the background, Mace is like, he's getting, I don't know if he's getting interrogated or what, but he's standing up and he's just ragdolling the cops around him. And then Dragon gets up and basically tells him to sit his ass down. And it's just, it's funny because it's like real shorthand in the background.
Yep.
It's so expressive.
There's something about his face that reminds me of something. He's like, I guess like Guy and Dutter.
Yeah. I love when Eric does that kind of shorthand in the background, though. It's, I don't know. It's just funny.
Yeah, no, they're small figures, but like you said, they're full of personality. I mean, it's fantastic. Like, dudes, here's the thing. If you want to talk about Savage Dragon, it's this spread here. You got, let's do the math real quick. You got 2 panels introducing a character who has fucking beef against fucking Dragon. You got a 3rd panel introducing, or 3 panels across the 2 pages that wrap up the Rodney Greenblatt, like the fake Dragon subplot. Then you got 4 more panels where not only is William Johnson dropping exposition about Skullface, and Youngblood, and like
Skullface, Youngblood, aliens invade New York. That's
what's going on
in Freak Force.
Right.
Cosmic Cops.
So he's like, in these 4 panels, it's like dropping like, stuff for other issues or whatever else. But then on top of that, there's this like 4-page gag. Like, dude, you talk about like compressed storytelling master. God damn, dude, here it is. Like, it's these 2 pages right here. All the work being done on these 2 pages. It's insane.
Yep.
You can't handle it, Bendis. You couldn't do it.
Oh, man, and the stories I could tell about how much he can't.
And then, if you thought you were getting away from at least a panel of spiciness in Savage Dragon, you were wrong. Because you get some Rapture Dragon shots.
Yeah.
Just casually reading a book in bed. No hanky-panky.
Cheesecake and beefcake all at once.
Dragons on the phone like one of those pinup girls.
It's funny too. 1995. It's like old school landline phone.
We have not invented cordless phones yet.
Right. Yep.
And then another villain is kind of introduced, right? Like, we don't know yet what the hell this is about.
Have to put Eric on blast now. This page, the second from the last page of the issue, is awful. Okay,
for tangents.
That's
to clarify.
That's a bit rough, but it's just the layout is just so not what I associate with Eric. So we got tangent problems right off the bat. So you see, whoever this is, mystery,
the Fiend.
Fiend,
Sorry.
Yeah, talking with her, her red word balloons. You see, and your eye follows her hair, which leads you directly into the panel, the small panel on the right, which is not where your eye is supposed to go. Your eye is supposed to continue down to the other red text under her, and then you're supposed to go to you're supposed to go back up to that top right panel. Then go down 2, and then go to the left, and then across 3.
Yeah, it breaks the invisible Z.
Oh, this? Oh boy, does it! But
the left to right Z.
But if it wasn't for that hair tangent from her hair going from the big panel to the little panel, I don't know if it would have been as bad.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things going on this page. Just like, look at this page, not knowing what you already know about Dragon. You see like this Fiend character, and then you see all these small panels, and you just kind of, I think, assume it's the same character almost. But, obviously the text boxes are different looking, but you don't know, like, this is the first time, you're seeing Horde. So when you see that hand on that page, to me, I think that's the Fiend's hand.
Right.
And then
But it's
when you
not.
turn the page, you're like, wait a minute, this is someone else talking. Because then you see that those word bubbles look the same as the page before that Horde is saying. You're like, oh, that's not the same character talking.
Right. There's two different villains talking on the same page.
And it's kind of mind-blowing because now you're like, all right, now we're getting introduced to this like fat ghoulish creature that's floating, and now I'm turning the page and there's some other creature. Are they working together? What the hell is going on? Like,
yeah, dude. And again, let's this 1, 2, 3, 4 in like 4 pages. He's introduced 3 new villains.
He has R.R. Richards, Fiend, and
Horde.
Reintroducing a Fiend, new form.
Yeah, reintroducing Fiend. Right.
yeah, I mean, R.R. Richards has been around, but he's kind of just getting more of the center stage. But yeah, I mean, 3 villains in 4 pages are kind of coming out of the woodwork.
Right.
And it's like, what's going on here?
Yeah, dude, it's wild. It's wild as shit. I mean,
and you're seeing that Horde is made up of these worms, so it's tying into what just happened to Dragon.
Right.
I don't know. It's crazy.
So
it is.
This issue is so good.
It's compressed storytelling at its finest, dude. I mean, it's fan-fucking-tastic. This is why, listen, I'm sorry, I had some friends that were arguing that, like, the monthly issue format needs to go away.
Oh, my God,
and
that
I'm like,
argument.
I told them, I said, it's not the format's fault that you only buy comics that don't know how to use it.
If all comics were this dense, I'd have no problem paying $4 or $5 for it.
Of course. Because look how fucking much meat is on these bones. It's insane. And I don't know. I just wish that every fucking buddy who wanted to make a North American like monthly issue single would be forced to read some compressed storytelling like this.
They should teach this in school.
They fucking should, dude.
This issue should be in everyone's college curriculums.
Don't write for the trade. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
Don't fucking write for the trade. If someone's paying like $5 almost for an issue, goddamn give them something.
Yeah.
So we spent a lot of time on this specific issue because it's so good.
Oh,
anything in the letters that I've missed that's relevant?
Well, first of all, on top of all that, we get 7 pages of letters, which, Eric's always likes to have letters. He always says, "Oh, it's a time capsule," and this one sure is a time capsule with all the photos.
Oh yeah, dude, the first
kid,
number
right?
1 picture. Yeah.
Yeah. His first son is just born in 94. Chris Eliopoulos, the letter, gets married in 94. And
Colorist married.
the colorist, Ruben Rude gets married as well. But they're all like young guys, in their 30s, which is crazy now, like how much time has gone by.
Yeah. It's insane.
So many letters limits our ads in this issue. All we get is a big back cover ad for the Dragon Blood and Guts miniseries, which we will be covering at a future date.
This issue had the Comic Buyer's Guide awards.
Oh yeah, that was on the back of the poster, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, that was it 1994 Fan Awards. Cut it out and mail it in.
I also want to say compliment the letters for almost every single page has art.
Yeah. Fan
So
art,
every
yeah.
like fan art on almost every single page of the letters. I mean, it's nuts, dude. You get so much.
Baby Dragon. Artist unknown.
Yeah.
No one wanted to take credit for that one.
My favorite guy is this Sylvester D. Cat.
Yep. He's
It's
got
just like,
a lot of rendering going on. What the heck's that little tiny hammer?
I don't know, dude.
Look
It's
at the tiny
incredible.
hammer. Oh, he's beating up Santa Claus too. There's a lot going on in this.
Yeah. Muscles on muscles. We got to roll. Savage Dragon 17, baby.
Okay.
Now, there's 2 covers to this
so
one.
we got to ask a question. Which cover do you have?
I got Dragon. What do you guys have?
I got Dragon.
I'm a completist, so I have both.
Well, I have not been able to find the other in the wild, or else I would also have both. But fortunately, Eric is kind enough to reprint the alternate cover on the inside back cover. So I got to say the ass and tit cover is probably superior.
It is. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a weird dragon pose, kind of.
Yeah. It is. It's a weird dragon pose.
I mean, he's jumping off of something while shooting guns.
Yeah.
It's an action man pose. I mean, what is he jumping from? What is he jumping into? Flames.
Fire.
Fire.
It's weird. It's weird when you put them together that they don't really go
They
together.
don't? I thought that was the idea. I don't know. I guess. No, they're just, they're like backwards.
Maybe they do. I don't know. Like Rapture's hair doesn't show up on the other cover.
No, you're right.
The fire kind of like converges, kind of weirdly.
Yeah, it's more like it's inverted. The flames just go in a different direction.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. They don't actually connect at all.
He was banking on you not knowing.
Was this his first variant cover?
That I can recall.
That wasn't like, the miniseries with like the different color logos. But
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I feel like it is.
Yeah, I think so too.
So this issue kind of kicks us off with She-Dragon, who's going to be becoming more and more important as this series goes on through these years. Interesting.
Can I just say?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can I just say that her staring at the Fiend, looking through the window, means that there are officially 3 motherfuckers lurking outside that window?
Yep, there are.
Everybody.
They all want to look. I mean,
Everybody look.
If you knew Dragon and Rapture were in there naked, wouldn't you?
I would. John Day was looking too.
So we get
Is this the first time we hear? Sorry, Jim.
Well, that's what I was getting into. Is that we open up with She-Dragon and she's talking to herself, which I can only assume is Eric making a reference to Byrne's She-Hulk, because
Absolutely, dude.
Because
absolutely,
breaking the fourth wall was all Byrne She-Hulk's like whole gimmick, and here we start out. It seems like she's talking to us, the audience. But then we discover she is not, in fact, talking to us, the audience. She is talking to these other voices that I guess she may be actually voicing herself.
No, it turns out, remember, it's the Eternal Youth.
Right. I know it's the Eternal Youth, but what I'm saying is they are all the word balloons are connected together, and they all point at her, which makes me think that their voices are coming out of her mouth.
Oh, right.
it is the way that it is kind of indicated to me too, Jim, because when the Horde is narrating at the end of the previous issue, if you've got a narration over a scene that's disembodied, Eric just puts it in a box.
Right.
Whereas She-Dragon's extra dialogue is coming out of her mouth.
What I think has happened here, and we can maybe pick Eric's brain on this, is I don't think it was meant to be the Eternal Youth at first. I think that's something that came later.
You think she might just be multi-personality? That's why
I think that's how he made her. Kind of like a jab at She-Hulk. She's talking to herself, breaking the third wall, kind of, but not really. She's just crazy. And if you look at the text, like they have different names, like Joe and Kelly. And then later on, he makes Big Lug's real name be Kelly and Cowbloke's real name be Joe. But I don't think that was intended. I think he was trying to make her out to be like crazy.
We know he improvs. So the thing is we know he makes it up as he goes. So it's like he could have started this just as a jab at She-Hulk, and then just decided, hey, we can do something else.
The only thing I would say about that is I am not familiar enough with Kirby's Forever People, which is who the Eternal Youth I assume are based upon how they look and how they're from Godtown and all that shit.
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
I'm not sure if they have like color-coded word balloons, and he's referencing that because they're very clear. We can very clearly see that there are 5 different word balloons here.
He was just using that to say she's got multiple personalities or something.
But talking in different voices, dude.
But he did specifically pick 5, of which only 2 of them only speak once. So to me, it seems like he's going for a specific number of voices. So maybe it was
the names Joe and Kelly just seem like.
No, that's true. That is a point in your favor. Yes.
I don't know. We could always ask at some point if we remember.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We won't.
He might
because
not
we'll be
even
talking
remember.
to him in a year. This is why we need to talk to him more than once a year. Like, we'll talk to him again and be like, "Hey, Eric, how you doing?" And completely forget this moment.
Maybe what we should do is have him on for a retro interview, like specifically.
Dude, you talk about fun. That would be fun. Hey, what the fuck are you thinking here?
What the fuck, dude? What the fuck?
You know he's gonna say, "I don't know."
Yeah, right.
Dude, yeah, I'm with you guys. I don't know exactly what the plan was, but the fact that she is mouthing them and she's not just hearing them, kind of to me seems like maybe originally the plan was to have her be nuts. She even makes a "I'm not that crazy" joke. So there's clearly a joke being made about her being crazy, talking in all these different voices to herself. So it's like, I think maybe originally she was meant to be bananas.
Yeah.
Which, again, I would say would that reference to She-Hulk.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Which was certainly an interesting way to go with that. Hey, Mrs. Harris.
I love the sky and the green moon.
Ooh, yeah.
Very
Like this
Spawn.
shit is awesome. Yeah, it's cool, man. He said very Spawn. It is.
Yeah, she's definitely one of Dragon's more interesting antagonists.
Hate makes her grow.
Indeed.
It's a cool design though. Like just kind of, it reminds you of some kind of like Evil Dead type thing.
Yeah, she's a deadite. Absolutely. With the grandma
If
hair.
she was named Hate Blob, would you like her as much?
I don't know. I think it's scarier that she's just called Mrs. Harris.
The Fiend, though, right?
I mean, that's she is a separate entity to the Fiend. She has the Fiend's power. The Fiend has either bonded with her or given her a portion of their power, but she is her own person, or at least mostly.
Question,
just
fellas.
Floating out the window, outside the window is freaky.
It is. Oh no, dude, it's awesome. Just seething with rage. Question, fellas. What do you think's going on with Rapture's little silhouette, like towel or whatever? It looks maybe like it was added later.
So, you mean in the panels there? Where she interesting, because that is a towel.
It's kind of like
I have always interpreted it as a little black dress, but that doesn't make any sense with the rest of these panels. Yeah, you're right.
She's drying her hair, and she comes out later naked, like it's a towel.
So she should be naked. I gotta wonder if maybe Eric intended to go for nudity here, and change his mind at the last second.
I don't.
Go ahead.
Tangent. Well, since we were talking about tangents, check out the crazy tangent.
Yeah, she's
Like her
in shadow, and then
well, like the cord carries
done,
down.
Yeah, I think that was done on purpose, but it doesn't quite work
no.
because her
That's what
elbow
I'm saying.
carries below. But then it's like, what did she do? Like raise up in height and drag and shrink down? Like it doesn't.
Right. Look how far down he goes.
Well,
Dragon
is walking away, so he's further away than he was in the first panel. But yes, it is accentuated more than it would.
But her elbow is like, yeah, it's.
And then
It
gets
doesn't quite work.
The tangent gets even crazier when you look at, like, at least to my eye, how her legs connect on that bottom panel still yet with the same pose.
Oh, that is the same figure. You're right.
Yeah, it's supposed to be, but
I think so too.
The door like connects too, like so it looks like it's one door between the top and the
Yes.
Except
it
now
just doesn't quite
Dragon's
work. It looks
tiny.
Yes.
yeah, like he's just scooching down.
He's like,
Okay.
I'll see you later.
This was
Bye.
Eric definitely had something in mind here that just did not come together.
And then he's just like a foot tall on the bottom panel.
Yeah.
He's further away. He's further away. He's about a mile away.
Would you get that, honey?
See, the door is actually gigantic, and
God, I hope the listeners are following along with their comic.
Yeah, if they're not listening, this is not going to make any fucking sense at all. But if you are listening and you do have the comic, it's the page right after the empty bed scene where the steam's rolling out of the shower, and it's just, "Oh, dragon, you animal." It's the opposite page is what we're talking about. And like once you see the giant figure of Rapture as one figure, you can't unsee it. It's like tangent fucking mania. It's insane.
Well, like I said, he definitely meant to show Rapture as like a full figure and was playing around with the panels, but you can't look at it too hard.
It is odd that he put. It's not odd that he put her in a towel. It's just that in every single other page, she's implied to be naked.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, she was just lounging around naked before, reading a book. She
drops the towel on purpose to like. The way I read it was she drops it on purpose to offend the people outside.
I guess what we were saying is it seems like it was added later.
Yeah, because I don't. You never see her drop a towel. You see her lean out the door, a dragon here at the bottom of the page, and on the next page you see her step out completely naked.
I don't think Eric's ready to show titties yet at this
point.
Well,
that's the thing. Would he? It seems like this definitely seems like something he definitely would have done today.
I've got a theory. You got a theory? You want to hear a theory? I think that the black border that was meant to separate the panels originally was hiding her nipples.
Right.
And I think his face was hiding her crotch.
Okay.
And I think she was originally naked.
Okay. That makes sense,
dude.
That's what I think. And I think it was just a fun, playful little like, ha ha. And I think somebody said, hey, bro, you got to cover this up. And so instead of redrawing the page, he just silhouetted in a towel. And I think the original intent was to have a little Austin Powers, barely covered action.
You're right, dude. Why didn't you do that?
It would have been better.
Because it was 1994, Craig.
Yeah, but he has some like stuff that's close like that.
I mean, that's true. We did already get the dragon and her in the shower scene, right? That was a few issues ago.
Yes.
Yeah, that was the one where he got side boob where his arm grew too. Remember?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And even just the last issue where they're reading the book, she's naked as hell, and he is too.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder.
Dude, you talk about a thing we need to ask him. We got to remember to ask him that one.
Yeah. You got to maybe post that on.
Yeah, it might be worth asking on the Facebook group. Just ask directly.
Post the page.
I got to say. Rapture must be very comfortable exposing yourself like that to the public.
I had a coworker, of all the damn things, and she was like one of those like hated wearing clothes and only wore them out in public.
Right.
She told me when she was at home, even around her child, she would just be nude, and I was just like, oh my God, what? Like, but the thing was
I was about to say me too, but I wouldn't be naked around a child.
Well, that's the thing is that part blew my mind too, and I was like, and she was like, "I'm just more comfortable."
Really?
She's like,
you live alone, but you don't get naked like half the time. It's just so much more convenient.
I wear extra layers. Like I'm super. What's funny is I make those comics and people think I'm some kind of slathering. It's dude. Like I giggle when I say the word titmouse. Titmouse. No, I don't walk around naked. Absolutely not.
It is liberating.
I knew everything smelled like balls for a reason.
Just don't cook naked. That's my advice.
You say don't sit naked.
No, don't cook naked.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God, dude. Can I just say something real quick? This is a crazy aside. I'm so sorry. Maybe nobody but me and Jim will give a shit, and maybe nobody will care. But it ties.
I'm already out of the equation.
You may or may not be, because we did suggest you read this, but Dragon gets so much mileage out of this. Be careful. I don't want to end up like your last girlfriend. The whole we're going to open a door thing.
Right.
Yeah. Chainsaw Man fans.
Oh yeah.
The don't open the door thing is used in Chainsaw Man.
Mm-hmm.
And bro, it's the exact same. I wonder, who knows? But like, I wonder fucking if there's any influence at all. Because, dude, he uses that whole, what's behind the door? Just like Eric did. Eric uses, I didn't realize until the reread, but Eric uses the whole, be careful when you go to answer that door. He uses that shit for like 40 issues.
Yeah. And it's usually a callback to Debbie Harris, right?
Yes, in some way. Like he's in his apartment right here. Rapture even says, I don't want to end up like your last girlfriend.
Yeah, it's a scarring thing.
Well, that's the thing. It's the same thing in Chainsaw Man. The writer creates a traumatizing moment with opening a door, and then fucking from the rest of the moment on, when you see a door and someone's behind it just knocking, you're fucking filled with dread. I don't know. I'm just saying parallels. At any rate, Chainsaw Man's very popular. Maybe somebody out there who's also a Savage Dragon fan appreciates that, but I just think it's cool that this was made in 1995 or 94.
This is January 94, so it was made in 93.
I think this is made in 90. I think it's cool that this was made in
95, February 95.
Oh, okay. So
you're talking about the Debbie Harris thing or this issue?
Correct. Yeah, 93 was when Debbie Harris started. I think it's so cool that something was made in 1993 and almost the exact same kind of fucking like narrative technique is being used in a popular comic like right now. Like that was made like a year ago. It's just fucking, I don't know, it's awesome. I just think Savage Dragon is fucking so ahead of its time sometimes that it's just fucking wild, dude.
Yeah.
So, real quick, you both have print copies of this book, right?
Yes. I'm looking at it right now.
All right. I want you to lift up the corner of the next page, one with Overlord on it, and I want you to lift it up quickly and see the page underneath it, and then flip it back and forth a couple times.
Same grid, yep.
Same grid.
Yep.
Same first panel is a close-up of a face.
Oh,
the
yeah.
Bottom panel is a close-up of a face. I mean, otherwise it's different, but I found that interesting, that he reuses this same layout and has a couple of different, like, similar...
And the page after that, almost.
Yeah, yep. Only that one's reversed. It puts the small panels on the left instead of the right.
But it starts with a big face panel and...
Huh. Good observation.
Oh, it does start with a big face panel. Yep. Neat. I thought that was neat.
That is a good observation. Well, if you want another little weird observation, check out the cop breaking the fourth wall just like She-Dragon. Show's over, move it along. He's looking at us when he says that. Yeah. And granted, we know he's talking to the crowd, but I'm just saying, it's kind of fourth wall breaking. Toying with the form, using the medium, that kind of thing.
Man, see, here's another thing. Like, as you reading this, it's like, all right, forgot, Cyberface was down with the Underground Freaks, and now he kind of bolted. So there's another subplot. It's like, whoa, here's this thing going on.
Yeah, this is to remind us that Overlord and Cyberface is still a plot going on. These are things that are still happening.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Dude, here's the thing is, even with the little, like, where Rapture's getting jealous and yelling, and you see Reader Meter Maid in the foreground, and it's like, dude, she doesn't even say anything. But even without her saying anything, it's like, oh yeah, that's a love triangle. Like, that's a secret love interest.
Man, I don't know how I feel about Rapture's jealousy problems. I find it kind of obnoxious. It screams of her being more, what's the word I'm looking for? Not self-conscious, the other one.
Jealous? Insecure.
Insecure. Being more insecure than I take her character for. I don't know. I've always found
like that.
I like it too.
I like flawed characters.
Plus, if they don't care, Jim, that's worse.
Yeah,
that's why
guess.
I don't like Jennifer Smasher that much. She doesn't really have any, she's so vanilla.
And whiny. Yeah. Her character is whiny.
I never read Jennifer as whiny. I'll have to get to that part. You'd know better. You've read more of it.
God damn, she's whiny. Rapture has so much more. Rapture was supposed to win. That's all I'm saying. Rapture was supposed to win.
I always read Jennifer as more passive in that she went along with whatever Dragon wanted to do, regardless of her own feelings about it. I don't know.
No, believe it or not,
she gets whiny as it goes on.
Believe it or not, Jim, the crazy thing is in the reread, there's even a rant where she's like, I warned you not to do it, but you did it anyway. She actually pushes, her character is that she actually is just like a fucking chicken shit and scared all the time. But she's right. She's right to be scared, and she pushes back against Dragon's thing. So she actually isn't real passive. She actually pushes back against Dragon very often, but she never puts her foot down.
Right.
She
never asserts when Dragon's wrong. She doesn't literally stop him. Like
with Glum, for instance, etc. Right. There's a million examples. There's a page where she goes through all of them.
When she was completely capable of just chucking him out the door on her own.
Oh, she could have thrown Glum into fucking outer space, and that would have been the end of it. Save the whole world. Dragon, you know. I'm just saying it's interesting the differences in the character. She is whiny. That's why I say she's not like a wimp. She just fucking whines all the time and doesn't do anything but whine. That's why Rapture to me is more interesting because, yeah, she's jealous, but like, dude, she's just trying to protect that beefcake. You saw him reading that book. I mean, you saw him on that phone with nothing but a smile and shit tons of body hair.
So the Dragon Slayer is pretty cool.
Hell yeah, dude. That thing rules.
It's a good name, too. It's way better than Spider Slayer.
It has. What's crazy is R.R. Richards is like the J. Jonah Jameson that fucking makes sense.
Right.
Isn't it? Dragon Slayer is better than Spider Slayer. That doesn't make any fucking... Slay a spider. Are you Garfield?
But the Dragon Slayer is a dragon.
Yeah, I mean, that's odd. You're right.
Well, it's wordplay. Because it's a slayer that is a dragon, but also
Gotcha.
it is a dragon slayer.
That double page spread is pretty wild with the street lamp with like the glowing circle around it and all the star fields and stuff. Pretty neat stuff.
This is another thing where the colors are incredible.
Yeah, I mean, for a 90s comic, this must have been, I can't remember, but I gotta imagine you're looking at this and just looking at these colors and mind blown.
Gotta love Dragon's nonplusness. Now there's something you don't see every day. Now don't that beat all.
Huh.
Gotta love its clothing disintegrating fire.
What's cool is if you look, it burned his body hair off too.
Oh, it did. He's really naked.
Yeah, it smoothed the body hair off.
It's always funny in comics. It's like you can always just find that shady guy that can build some kind of ultra high-tech equipment.
Right?
I like how in this one it's just a big dude in a single color sweater.
Some slob.
Welcome, man.
I don't care how much it costs. Build me a sophisticated, functioning, giant dragon robot that can kill Savage Dragon. You got it.
Yeah, all right. That'll be 2 meatball sandwiches.
Just got to pull it out of the mothballs. I've had it laying around for years.
Yeah, I had someone just for such occasion.
How about this pinup? The Highbrow Universe versus Eric Larson.
I can't stand that rendering of Eric.
No? Well,
I hate how he looks, dude.
He's a cartoon character. That's for sure. He doesn't look anything like the Highbrow logo.
Also, Mike Miller signed next to like every other dude's fucking thing.
Oh, he did. Oh, why?
And it's like because I guess he inked.
Yeah.
But it's like, would you really go and like sign next to every different piece you inked?
Yeah, that's obnoxious.
It's very obnoxious.
I'm not sure if this was a jam piece or if they were individual pieces of art that were like assembled.
I think it's a jam piece on one piece of paper, but he's inking some and not others.
Yeah.
And penciling some and inking together.
I do see some other inker signatures that are not his, so it's possible they all just signed.
It looks like Ben Herrera drew the Mighty Man and Star, and he goes on to do the Star Mini.
I just want to say, if you're going to do Vanguard, please give him his helmet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just
helmet
please.
Vanguard, not good.
Don't like it. And again, like, Eric just seems like... I don't know. I hate this pinup, dude. I'm just going to tell you, like, I've always hated this fucking pinup.
It's that bad, but...
I'm legitimately fascinated that your reaction is so strong.
There's elements of it that look cool, okay? Let's say, like, Super Patriot's arm looks fucking cool as shit.
Yep.
Like, that arm looks great. And then, like, for instance, it's a good dragon. That's a, not great, but good. But then, like, that Mighty Man, like, what's going on with his hair?
I don't know. It doesn't bother. I think overall, I've seen much, 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 much worse. I
sure.
think they did good. I don't know. I think you're being too critical, but it's okay. Everyone's got their own taste.
That's fine, dude.
Everyone's got their own buttholes.
Some people hate pizza.
I think, especially given the time, we're lucky it doesn't all look, real 90s. Could be like Todd McFarlane ripoff, John Cleary type stuff.
I would have preferred that, but you know me. You know how I am, dude. I like that star. I will say that's Super Patriot and Star are 10 out of 10 on this.
Hellcat looks good. I think they all look decent. Only Horridus. No one ever gets Horridus right, though.
No, horrible.
You said, yeah, Horridus's face is, again, not great. But again, like Craig said, not everyone does Horridus well. She's a tricky character.
Weird tangent of Ricochet looking like she's got like fire coming when it's really just Van's boots.
Right.
Oh yeah, just shooting out her ass.
Yeah. It's just there's just little things.
Yeah, that's always the struggle with the jam piece.
Yeah.
You got to work with what space you've got.
And then look at the tangent on Star's fist, his right fist. It's tangent up against Barbaric's forearm, up against Super Patriot's head.
Red on red, and it's just touching the corner of his head. Yeah, you're right.
It's red on red, and it's a tangent. Just shit like that. This just drives me wild.
It's the fucking four corners right there. It's fucking
dude. They all came together right there. It's just like, woo, I hate looking at it.
So we get
That's
a bit. So we get a bit more with the R.R. Richards, controlling the Dragon Slayer remotely. We get She-Dragon comes on in. And Rapture gets her licks in, gets backhanded, as you do. It's pretty funny. She tries to shock the thing and shocks Dragon.
Yeah, that's hilarious. That's a great gag.
What is this She-Dragon pose where she's coming in to like give her the
flexing before she slams?
Yeah, the double-fisted hammer, Captain Kirk style. But oh boy, is she leaning pretty far back.
Dude, that is a wild pose. I love it, but it is wild.
Yeah. It does look weird, but I think it conveys a lot of like you can tell she's like gearing up to like destroy this thing,
No, I think if there's any confusion, like I really do love it. Like I think it is fucking awesome. It's a weird, like over the top pose, and I fucking love it. I think it's awesome. Yeah, it does convey power. Good shit. And the coloring. Cool too. Yeah, the coloring just on that moment sells.
And then Dragon just handily defeats this thing because having a big television screen for your chest is not the smartest way to go. I gotta say, I am probably the only person who prefers She-Dragon with a full head of hair. I love her hair. And I hate that she kind of goes into the mohawk after this.
Ah, boo.
Yes,
yeah. Team Mohawk.
Please boo me.
She-Dragon.
So my favorite
exactly.
When She-Dragon came back in the Savage world and had her full head of hair, I was so happy. And she lost it again.
I get why he did it. I mean, originally because she was just supposed to be a She-Hulk.
Right. She's got the sensation hair.
And it makes no sense to call her She-Dragon if she just looks like She-Hulk with blonde hair.
I understand the rationale. I just think she looks better with hair.
Well, some people hate pizza, What can I say?
I just love that
Everybody
hair.
looks better with a mohawk.
Yes, dude.
Storm.
Oh, no, I can't agree with that. I'll agree with a few other things, but I won't agree with that.
Mr. T.
Looks good on Mr. T.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of the Storm mohawk for the exact same reasons.
Punk rock Storm, the best.
It's awesome.
The best.
It's okay.
Mohawks rule, dude. You better get used to it. When society collapses, we're all going to be wearing mohawks.
I'm gonna go with the reverse mohawk, like the Road Warriors.
Jim, no.
Can't remember if it was hawk or animal.
Don't do it. I don't care if society collapses. It didn't collapse that much. Fashion didn't collapse. Just the governments. just the world governments. And don't do a reverse mohawk.
And of course, unlike J. Jonah Jameson, R.R. Richards goes straight to fucking jail for being the world's dumbest idiot.
That's because in Savage Dragon things happen.
They sure do.
Look at this cuck, Dale.
We'll see him again in 20 years.
I am convinced on the last page, the white panels, that Eric let one of his studio buddies ink it, because that does not look like Eric inks at all to me.
It's very thin, isn't it?
Which panels?
The very last page.
The very last page, all the white panels. Look at Dragon's face. Look at the inks. To me, that does not look like Larson inks. I could be wrong. Like even like look at the third panel of Dragon's face. That doesn't look like Larson to me. The inks. Look at the second to last panel with Dragon looking through the doorway.
Mm-hmm.
It looks like a different inker to me. It looks like he let one of his buddies like jump on.
It's
Knowing
weird
Eric,
because...
he probably didn't. But
it's weird because the first panel looks like Eric, but then the second one doesn't. The third one doesn't. The fourth one doesn't. But then that fifth one does. But then the sixth one doesn't. And it's like, it's weird. It's just the whole thing's strange.
The one where he's like grabbing the back of his neck, that does not look like an Eric face. It looks great, but it doesn't look like an Eric face. That just looks weird.
No, you're correct. It looks weird for sure. And then yet the inset where it's like, I've been expecting you. It's like, that looks like Eric.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that definitely is. I'm just wondering because he was sharing a studio.
Oh hell!
Hey, let me ink this panel.
Jason, is that the Jason Howard? Like Astonishing Wolfman, so. Jason Howard?
Yeah,
probably.
On the letters page.
I'm pretty sure he's mentioned.
Yeah, he redrew that pose actually. That's somebody asked if that was it. Yeah, it's cool as shit, isn't it?
It is.
Dude, so many fin heads go on to have careers, and then you got guys like me and Scott James that don't.
Stop. Yeah.
Scott James said it too.
Oh, if he said it, it's okay.
Yeah, I'm not being mean. I mean, I'm saying Scott said it too, so I'm just saying that's a joke. That's levity. Listen, I just love it that there's so many fin heads that have been around for 3 decades. It's incredible. It's awesome.
Right. So many, like, it's so cool to read those letter pages though and see a name like that, and it happens a lot.
Dude, Jason Howard, we got Augie, Olaf.
Here's the thing, Raven.
here.
If you would have wrote a letter in, maybe that's what.
Maybe you would have been drawing Batman by now.
Nah, it's pretty shitty back then, dude. 94, goddamn horrible. In fact, what about this custom dragon action figure?
Like, yeah, is that the first neat. Custom dragon action figure?
That's what I'm saying. Like, that's got to be the first one ever, right? Because Playmates didn't have a toy out yet.
In this time, I don't think. Did you say Playmates or Toy Biz?
Playmates.
Oh yeah, the Playmates figures I think are still a year or so off.
Yeah, you'll see the ads when they come out. That back cover, Freak Force 15 Revenge.
The Snappy Dragon by Matt Adams. Dude, I do love that Eric included the variant cover just in the back. It's awesome.
It's always appreciated when variant covers are presented in some fashion so you can see what they are. Because as it is well documented, I hate variant covers with an undying passion. But I can stomach them more when you get them like this.
It looks like these were both printed in the same amount based on what he said. So I don't know why one is
50-50
harder for you to find.
It's just not turning up in dollar bins. This copy I got in my hand is pretty banged up. I probably found it somewhere. But haven't had any luck getting the other one. Gotta get it. Gotta find it.
Hey guys.
Honestly, it's less annoying than the fact that I have the variant cover for $25 and not the regular cover. That's the one that's being elusive on me.
2 pretty incredible fucking issues. I mean, good lord, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, we're in what would probably be called the golden age of Savage Dragon. This is the period that people remember the fondest or the strongest.
I didn't realize how many people fucking hated the Savage world until we hit that point in the daily reread. And then people were like, God damn, I hated the Savage world. And I was like, whoa.
Well, it helps when you're raised on it like me. It's all I knew.
I didn't have the same. I also didn't have that same crazy attachment. But what was so funny is when I got to that point, I was like, "Oh, I see why he went from doing this like it was like 70 issues of like that, of what we just read,
right?
And then boom, here's my best Jack Kirby impression. and I'm not
Right.
doing all the
It's
things.
so jarring.
Yeah, and I'm not doing all the things you love. And there's not like a million plot threads.
And all those characters you love, they don't exist anymore.
Yeah. You won't be seeing them and stuff. And so yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Well,
as shit.
that was the biggest thing too. I mean, Savage Dragon turned out to be more than just a Savage Dragon book because you had so many other characters, and I think that got overwhelming for him. But at the same time, for the readers, it's like we're not reading it just for Dragon. We like all these other characters, and now you just took them all away.
Yeah, even with my own little comic, my world's way smaller than Savage Dragon's in terms of cast. But whenever a character is like not being focused on, dude, people just ask where the other characters are, like nonstop, like all the time. They're like, "What's blah blah doing?" I was like, "Well, they don't exist yet, so
Right.
they're not doing anything."
The thing in the Savage world, it was like even when he did start reintroducing them, they weren't the same characters.
Yeah, they were different. They were tweaked. It's funny because I never understood the animosity until I did the daily reread, and then I was like, "Oh." Because, I mean, I like the Savage World. I loved it. But, like, when I did the daily reread, especially those first 2 issues of the Savage World, I was like, oh, he sets up for really incredible stuff with callbacks to this issue where Skullface is, like, melted. Like, there's a thing where Skullface is like, "Don't give me hope, Frankie." And it's like, just like, God damn, where's this going? And it's not going anywhere. He just set it up and then was like walked away. Right. So I get it. I didn't used to get it, and like now I get it. It's crazy.
Well, with that, I think it's time to wrap this one up.
Yeah. So lots to talk about these 2 issues in particular. I mean, it's been a while since we talked about like regular Savage Dragon. So felt good.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really fun. Love talking classic Savage Dragon with you guys and listeners. Of course, you can always, catch us on the Facebook group. Send us your comments and questions to savagefincast@gmail.com. Thank you to my co-hosts, Craig and Jim. Thank you for everybody for listening, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.
I don't know why I said it that way.